The Bite Me podcast is coming right up, and it is brought to you every week right here on YouTube by Freedom Boats. It is the best shallow running boat on the water, and there is a model perfect for you. The Chiquita 14, the Eagle 16, the Patriot 18, the Commander 21, the beautiful Warrior like I have 23, or the big boy that runs so shallow, the General 26. Chet Moore and Pooty can customize it however you'd like, and there's a dealer near you, whether it's the Boatyard in Kemah or dealerships in San Antonio, Beaumont, Corpus Christi, Port O'Connor, Houston, and Aransas Pass. Freedom Boats or freedomboatsusa.com. You know, you hate to make promises you can't keep, but I'm going to promise a fun show today. And the reason is the boys are showing up. Captain Dean, Captain Scott, Captain Caleb. We'll get into what they do here a little bit more later. But they're showing up with a little bit of a little frisky. Maybe it's the weather, which we're going to start with here in just a second. But Captain Dean is literally wearing a styrofoam hat with lures pegged to it, stuck to it. Captain Scott's looking a little frisky. Captain Caleb was already being something of a smart ass, but that's par for the course. That's par for the course. And we got a lot planned for you today. So, all right, before we even get into anything I was going to ask, Dean, you just said, hey, man, ask me about fishing. How's fishing?
And so, I mean, I was just curious. I went out for a boat ride today to check water temperatures. Actually, I was going looking for stunned turtles. So they've been picking up turtles around the bays, and I figured, man, not a lot of traffic out there. I go do a good deed for the day.
Yeah.
But I was really curious about the water temperatures. Also, there's been reports, up and down the coast of really low water. The lowest water temperature I found was 47 degrees. Didn't find any turtles, but what I did find were stacks of redfish, in a good mood, hungry. I only had about an hour to fish. I landed at least 10.
What?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was not a matter of do you want to catch them? It was how many do you want to catch? They were just, even so, as I'm going along the edges of the drop-offs, the tide is low, super low, it's gone. I think our tide gauge at Port Aransas is broken because it registered at 0.3, but there is no way that was 0.3. It was bone dry on the flats, but it was coming in strong. And so these redfish are going along the edges of the drop-offs, shallow, like up against the islands where there's a grassy ledge that goes to a drop-off. So those reds were hanging on the edge, and they were running up to the shallow water, and I saw several launch, not like airborne out of the water, but just completely flip their tail, bodies coming out of the water on whatever they were feeding on.
Dang.
So 47 degrees 2 days after this crazy cold front, and they're hungry. They're in a good mood.
Yeah, we're going to get into this crazy cold front. A couple of stories I was thinking about when I was texting you guys the topics and such earlier. But Scott, first of all, I want to make sure everybody understands they need to subscribe to the podcast, as I always say, in case there's some new listeners out there. And we've actually been getting a bunch of new listeners that are subscribing on Podbean and iTunes and Spotify. So that's always good. Bite Me group page. Join there. You're going to have a great discussion. This picture that I just took of Dean is going to be posted there real soon, I'm sure. And book the guys, book the fellas. You're going to have a lot of laughs and a lot of fun. So we were kind of talking about some, I guess you mentioned it in a text, your bees story, Scott, and just and it got me thinking about some of the quote unquote noble things that people have done. I'm going to go around the horn here. Then we'll get into the weather because it is a somewhat serious discussion we need to have about that. But we're not always serious here. So tell me that bees story. I think you were in Florida. Was it in Florida, Scott?
Belize.
Oh, Belize.
I went down there as a photographer on a magazine article. Got picked up for that. And the article is about kayak fishing, going back into the backwaters and chasing baby tarpon and snook. So we had a guide that had us on a panga, and he ran us about 2 hours into the jungle, and myself and Jeff Herman, and we were going into this little lake, and we had to go up a creek to get there. So we were going to fish for snook along the way. And what would happen is we'd get to wherever we were going, dump the kayaks out, we'd paddle, and our guide would kind of ease up behind us ever so often and let us get almost out of sight, and then he'd ease up on the boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
and be right there for us. Well, we went around this palm tree that had fallen across the river, and instead of him being able to get around it, he had to kind of go over it, and he bumped it with his motor.
Oh no.
And we were about maybe 50, 60 yards up from it when he did it. And I just kind of casually looked back. Well, it looked like smoke coming out of that tree.
Mm.
And it was all over him. I mean, it just tore him up. They were, it looked like a cartoon, you know, one of those-
Hundreds, if not thousands.
oh, thousands. It looked like one of them cartoon deals where they're all buzzing around your head. So he shuts the motor off. I'm hollering at him, turn the motor off, because that vibration is bad for the bees.
Mhm.
But once you swat one and you kill it, they leave the pheromone out and they will attack you. And they'll keep going to that spot wherever that pheromone is. So they
Mhm.
did. And he's swatting and running around hollering, and he dove off and he jumped in the water. And we're back away from it. And so I start paddling up there to get to him and get him out of the water. Well, they attacked me.
Jeez.
And Jeff was behind me, and Jeff turned around. He's hooking them. I'm hooking them. We're paddling like crazy. And Jeff can paddle really quick. I was
Mhm.
right on his tail, but I was still getting hit. Got stung a bunch, my head and my ears, and got to a stopping point. And I asked Jeff, I said, "Did you get hit?" And he goes, "No, thank God." I said, "Well," he said, "What about you?" I said, "A bunch." And he said,
Yeah.
"Well, I didn't, because I'm allergic."
Oh wow.
And
Oh
I
my
said,
goodness.
"Like allergic a little bit, or like allergic bad?" He goes, "Like, I'll die."
Jeez.
And I said, "Okay, well, for future reference, where's your EpiPen?" Because, you know, I've been through that with another guy kayak. And I said, "I need your EpiPen. I need to know where it is." He goes, "It's in Houston."
That doesn't help.
That didn't help a lot. So I left him behind when I went back to go, because I thought our guide might have been dead. I didn't
Mhm.
know. You know, I mean, he got hit so much, he could have drowned, gone into shock. Who knows? So I paddled back up there. When I get there, he's poking his head out of the water just a little bit, but every time he poked his head out, the bees would hit him.
Oh.
And I mean, just sticking his face out. He's up under a cut bank.
Mhm.
And Jeff got there. Jeff kind of paddled up behind me. I didn't realize he was back there. I could see our guide. And then Jeff hollers from behind me, "Where you at?" You know, and starts yelling for him. Well, the bees went, "Hey, there they are.
There they are.
They're back." And here we go again, paddling like crazy. I'm getting hit. Jeff's in front of me going faster, and he's not getting hit.
Mhm.
And so this time I left Jeff way back up the river and told him, "Here's my cameras, because in case I got to bail out, I don't want to mess anything up." I
Mhm.
went back to find him, and I couldn't find him. I thought he drowned. And I'm paddling along. I'm just kind of real quiet, and there's a few bees around that they're not really going crazy.
Mhm.
I hear woohoo. And I said, "Woohoo." And he said, "Woohoo."
A little language
There's a
working.
little Marco Polo thing going on.
Yeah.
And he was way up a bank. It was a straight up bank, and he had scrambled all the way up to the top of it and was sitting up against the base of a tree. Panga's out there floating, 26-foot panga.
Oh
Was
man.
just floating in the river, and I paddle over, I grab it, tie it off to my kayak, paddle it, pull it with the kayak over to the water, the bank. He
Mhm.
climbs down, gets in it, and then I told him, "Don't start the motor, man. Whatever you do, just sit still." And his face was already swollen up, couldn't hardly recognize him.
Yeah.
And I paddled it back to where Jeff was. Well, now the main river is between us, and the bees are between us and where we need to go.
Mhm.
So I got Jeff, he's a little dude, and I stuffed him into that front hull up under the deck,
Mhm.
and put life jackets around him, put a rain suit
Yeah.
on him, and then put him up under there. Told my guy, I said, "I'll run the boat." He said, "No, I'll run the boat." I said, "You're gonna run over that log. Do not
Yeah.
stop. Don't
Yeah.
stop. Just hit it as hard as we can. Let's go." And so we did, and we got out of there. Well, I'd called back to the lodge, which was a whole other mess. I had
Yeah.
911 worked out in the middle of nowhere. That was kind of weird, but got patched through from the police department to the lodge. They were sending people, but it was 2 hours away.
Oh
It
man.
was a 2-hour ride that we had taken to get there.
Mhm.
apparently it took us longer to get all that done than I thought because they were pulling around the corner when we got out on the main river.
Oh, they were waiting. They were coming to get you.
Yeah, so
So
we transferred our guy over.
911 is 911 international?
Apparently, that's the only thing I could think to do.
Mhm.
I mean, I was surprised I had bars.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't know where we were. I didn't know the
Mhm.
name of. He had said the name of it, but it was some funky little name of this creek.
Mm-hmm.
And all I could tell the people at the lodge was, "Hey, he's taking us. We're about 2 hours away. We went up some little creek. It's got a palm tree laying 45-degree angle across it, and we were going to a lake that has a bunch of baby tarpon in it." And they said, "Okay, we know exactly where you are."
Oh, good.
And so they came straight to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was kind of interesting. But yeah, when I called 911, I'm talking to this little guy. He said, "Hello, police department."
Yeah.
And I
The
said,
BPD.
I told him the Bellies River Lodge. I need to get in touch with him. He goes, "Never heard of it."
Oh man.
So he had to look it up, and then he got me through to him. But yeah, it was interesting. Guide told us when we got back, the ladies are up there picking the stingers out of him. He had 200 or 300 stingers in him,
Oh.
and they're picking them out, and they're picking them out of my ears and my top of my head.
Yeah.
And Jeff never got hit once, luckily.
That's
But,
amazing.
Our guide tells us, "Oh yeah, I'll be ready to go. What time y'all want to be here in the morning?" I said, "Dude, you ain't fishing tomorrow. I guarantee it." He goes, No, I'll be good. I'll be good. He walked out the next morning. His head looked like a pumpkin.
Little ibuprofen be good,
And-
good to go.
Yeah. He said, "Nah, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. I got some Benadryl. I'll be okay." He was
Mhm.
not okay. So we went out with another guide for our last day on the water. And we did
Dang.
not go back to that creek.
I guess not. Okay, so I was going to have some fun with this. That what you did was like truly noble. You know, the whole idea was being quote unquote noble things that you did that ended up in a bad way for you. Mine is not nearly as close. I want to get I know one of Dean's anyway. It has to do with a felon on the water. I don't know about Caleb where things have gone bad. Mine's not nearly as bad, so I'll just say it real quick. But probably it was right before I went. I was in East Matagorda actually, so it was about 3.5 years ago. There was a guy that did the old arm thing. He was stuck, I guess, on a shell. And it was way on that mud side on the east side, Caleb, or what is it? Yeah, east side.
Mhm.
And I kind of knew how to get back there, and he didn't. I went to go help him, and I got stuck too. And the tide was going out. I knew the tide was going out, and so I just picked up the phone and called. I think it was my neighbor, and he got in his boat. But I was doing everything I could to get both of us out. So basically, my more recent one was I tried to help a guy and got stuck worse than he did. It took longer for them to get my boat out than his popped right out. Mine was way stuck in there. But I had good intentions. I had good intentions on it.
Well, I was going to say all these rescue stories. Caleb's used to being on the other side of it.
Well, I know that's why this is going to be intriguing. Caleb, you're trying to do the right thing, which of course everybody knows you always are trying to do the right thing, right?
You know, I have multiple stories of my selfless nature.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
almost an everyday thing.
That's the first thing I say about you.
Why is Camille laughing back here?
But since I did so much research into reading the rundown, I'm gonna have to go with the one that pops off the top of my head as soon as you say it. It's a pretty selfless act. I don't think many men would have done it, but
Oh, wow. That's a setup.
oh boy, I was on one of my stints of running like 25, 27 days straight. I was probably into day 20 of it. Whooped, wore out, tired. And I get back to I had a trip with a couple the day before, and then the next day they were going out to fish on their own. And typically you're the guide's problem. Well, you got it while you are with him, but not so much his problem when you are not with him.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it was right about dark. I was getting in. I was tired. Didn't really want to get much done. I get a phone call, and they are stuck like 23 miles away from where I'm at, and it is right at dark.
Oh.
So I had to make a decision. It is a tough one too. I was like, man, it's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Boat, brand new motor, can't really be towing stuff. Hadn't even broke it in right yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, just overall. And but I decided to do the right thing. I drove from the bridge in Matagorda all the way to Mitchell's Cut to help these people get unstuck. Now I'd probably mention the person that called me was like a recent Miss LSU, and she promised she was wearing the same.
I knew it.
she was
I knew
before.
it.
But I did go get her.
You're such a noble person.
And selfless acts of awesomeness is what I am.
Selfless.
Selfless act of awesomeness.
Yeah.
I mean the thing
That's
is,
the one you sent pictures. Oh, probably shouldn't say that. But is that the one you may have sent pictures of?
No. I was afraid she'd cover up if I sent pictures.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, my selfless awesomeness is only outweighed by my humility, and it's something I'm really proud of.
Yeah. Well, there's your early leader for the Captain Scott Knoll Award at the next Feeding Frenzy, right there.
I'll tell the story in full detail.
You're not going to finish in the top 10. I can tell you that right now. So
I got pictures.
Well, maybe top 10, but 8 at the highest. But so Dean, you now you do stop all the time. You're always helpful, helping people. You're talking about the sea turtles, trying to do the right thing. But I know it doesn't always go well, particularly with the felon. But I don't know if that's the story you want to go to.
I mean, everybody knows us, and I mean, that was kind of. I mean, it ended well because he got away from the police. And,
it depends on your perspective, but yes.
And there was no trouble. He eventually got rounded up. But when I was reading this one and I was thinking about it, the one, and so since then, when people, you heard me last week, we were talking about people who fish in the cuts, park in the cuts, like parking in one way in and one way out of flats.
Yeah.
It was one of my brand new boats. I had just got, I don't remember which one it was, 2 or 3 boats back, but I'm going into a cut that leads into the back lakes. And as I'm pulling up in there, there was a boat there fishing. And I go out of my way to be polite, to go give this dude as much space as possible, go around, boom, stuck. I planted that boat worse than I was stuck like Caleb stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, not a boat that you just step out and push when it's stuck that good.
Mm-hmm.
So I was stuck there till somebody came and pulled me off the sandbar. So yeah, going out of my way to be polite and going on the complete opposite side. But since then, I learned a lesson that day. If you're fishing in the on-ramp, prepare to get run over.
That's right.
I'm not going to do that again.
That call.
But yeah, I mean, that's, and I swear it's been quite a few years ago, but the thought of that boat getting stuck the way it did, because I'm going out of my way to help somebody else who made the wrong decision. And then there I was. And then they're sitting there looking at me like, why'd you do that?
That call is very, very important. You got to call the right person. You got to call the right person to get you out. Because like if I called Caleb, Dean might be all right. But if I called Caleb, Dean would tell the story. That's for sure. But Caleb
that was long enough ago. But it was kind of early in the age of the social media, quite a few years ago, where it wasn't going to be as exciting as it would be nowadays. Nowadays, it's going on Facebook, it's going on Instagram, it's going on X, it's going everywhere.
Like that picture of you with the hat.
John came and got me and Pat if we walked too far away from our boat and gave us a ride back to our boat, drove 10 yards and got stuck. And John still ain't got a thank you for picking us up yet. Just make fun of him for getting stuck.
Yeah. Speaking of, you're such a giver. You're such a considerate being. So I actually was wade fishing myself that day. I was wade fishing. I started to walk back to the boat, and Caleb calls. What's up? Whatever. He goes, "Hey, can you give us a ride back to our boat? We waited too far. They'd waited like 1.5 miles or 2 miles, and I was kind of headed that way. So I said, sure. So I get in my boat, and that was a pretty good hike away. I mean, not 22 miles, like you said, but probably a good 4 or 5 miles. Got over there, got them, picked them up, got them back to and you had customers, with you.
Yeah, we did.
I got your customers first, took them back to the boat.
Did.
And then I got Caleb and Patrick.
I didn't even know that reef was there.
took him back to the boat, and I said, "All right, see you guys later." And I did a little loop-de-loop and got stuck. So
Even before that, we had walked like too far, and Pat was like, "Oh man," I was like, we're gonna call somebody. Keep walking." And for the next half mile, I thought of who we're gonna call, and I was like, "Hey, Lopez out here, ain't he?" And Pat, you know the way he does it, all excited. Yeah. I was like, "I'll call him."
And then the kicker on it all, because again, you should probably get a some sort of peace prize or something. The only one who did not get in the water to help me push the boat out, Caleb. Patrick
I had to make sure our
Patrick
boat
got-
didn't drift off.
So-
Might have drifted up on that reef over there.
To get a peace prize.
Caleb was cast to the reef.
Yeah. Let's talk about the most important thing between you and that potential fish of a lifetime. Lines and leaders. Seaguar, truly the best. They've been doing it at the highest level since 1971. People always ask, what do you throw? I throw Seaguar. The double structure fluorocarbon is virtually invisible in the water and has exceptional strength and castability. And if you love and trust Seaguar Fluoro, you're going to love the braid. Man, bait casters, spinning reels, inshore, offshore, it's the absolute best and the only braid I throw. It's Seaguar, the best quality, the most trusted name in the game. Get to a great retailer near you like Fishing Tackle Unlimited or Anglers Anonymous. Visit Seaguar.com. That's Seaguar. Seaguar, always the best. That's what we get for being nice. So, all right. So on this freeze, this Arctic blast. So when I first put the topic down, obviously it was coming, this past weekend. And I think I texted you guys. I think this thing's just going to be a little old, popcorn fart, I think is what I said when it comes to the coast. I knew it was going to come north Houston, into Houston, maybe a little bit on the north side or whatever. So I wrote down, just to remind myself, let's talk about this quote unquote Arctic blast, because I didn't think it was going to be much. I really didn't. In terms of water temps and fish, stunnings and freezes and all that. And then it got kind of dicey out there. It got kind of dicey out there. So let's start right there, Scott. I mean, how dicey is it? Has it been? And oh, by the way, another freezing temperatures, maybe not quite as bad, but more freezing temperatures coming.
Critical point on trout's 44. Everybody always keeps getting into this. Well, we didn't ice up, the saltwater didn't ice up this time, so we're good. 44 for a sustained period of time or a severe drop of 10 to 15 degrees. Well, I watched my water temperature drop over 20 degrees in 36 hours and hit a low at 39 around here. So it's enough that it could, but I think that we had enough of low tides ahead of time that it won't be real severe. There's going to be some spot kills. Somebody posted one on our Bite Me page at the dock. So Silver, where Rocky's wife, she posted one from some with some boats hanging in some slips with a bunch of dead fish around it. I couldn't tell what exactly the fish were. Could have been trout, could have been mullet, and it was hard to say from that vantage point. But yeah, I mean, we did get cold enough, and it did stay cold for a good while. A whole lot colder than we thought.
Yeah.
Because my well froze up, and I had to be out there and heat my well back up to get it rolling again. And that was with the water running. I turned the water off to the house just to be on the safe side, and then turn the water onto the pond and just let it run into the pond. Well, I woke up to an icicle going into the pond.
Oh man. So you got real cold.
Yeah, I think we were probably close to 20 around here. I mean, it was 24, 25 in town, and I'm usually 5, 6, 7 degrees colder. When I got in the truck, it was 21, and that was after the sun had come out.
And that is interesting because you and I are not that far from each other as the crow fly. And we got down to 26, 27 at night. Didn't stay there very long. None of my faucets, on the spigots out in the yard, none of those froze up. Water temperature, today, even on the shallowest flats, I went to confirm what I was seeing. 47-degree water temperature today. So but the forecast was actually pretty accurate. Except for like a little bit extra colder, I guess, in some of those areas, because the coldest air made it about to Victoria, and I guess that's right on the line where Scott is. I mean, was right at the fringes of it, because when you went south of us, especially inland, like Hebronville and Freer, and those places that typically get really colder than us on the coast, stayed warmer than us on the coast on this one. So I mean, it's kind of interesting how geographically we're not that far from each other, and it wasn't that dramatic here.
Yeah, this one pushed like east. I think the further east you went, the worse it got. What's more pertinent to me is I went to the courthouse to be a responsible civilian yesterday, and the courthouses were closed due to inclement weather. I'm like, it's cold outside.
Yeah.
We didn't get a drop of water. Whoever makes this decision didn't want to come to work today.
Yeah. And all the schools were
Well,
closed.
those decisions were made on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, see, that's it. I called my friend that works at the courthouse, and she said, no, they told us last night that we're going to be closed today. I was like, huh.
Hey, man, the world has gone soft on us. There ain't no doubt. I mean, even today, the everybody's wham because the kids actually went to school in Aransas Pass today. I was like, what was preventing you from getting your children to school today? It was that bad? It was that difficult for you?
That pavement was cold.
I think Scott's dead on. I think we'll have some spotty kills and stuff, but the 21, the tides were way up. It was tall fishing under birds on the edge water, and this cold hit. This one, it was low and got even lower. So I think let's hope Scott's right. I try not to talk about any of this stuff because you always end up getting proven wrong if you do it. But I think
That's all right.
I think Scott talking about it. Scott is the one that has a chance to be wrong.
I tell you what didn't happen here, which is usually a good sign. Whenever it drops and it stays cold, the canals, the marina, the harbor, and those places get loaded with birds. I mean, the birds are diving, all the cormorants, pelicans, everybody moves in to those canals and those deeper spots when the fish move in. Throughout the cold spell, I'd go drive around town, look at those places, and it never did do that. Also, a lot of times whenever it drops dramatically, the water will steam because the cold air comes blasting in faster than the water can cool down, and there will be steam rising off the water. Never saw any of that. Never saw a congregation of birds or any fish in the canals as if they were fleeing the cold.
Scott, you hearing anything? Go ahead.
Today I go out to the flats, and the redfish living their best life out there today.
They were frisky. Scott, you hearing anything on Galveston and anything up there?
I haven't heard anything definite, but I mean, like we talked about in 21, it takes a few days. You know, when fish die, they sink. They don't automatically just float up. And it usually takes a few days of it warming up before you start seeing some floating fish. I mean, our water temperature today is already 54. I mean, it's jumped back up pretty good. The sun came out, wind died down. That was the biggest problem with this one, was it was so damn windy. I mean, we were 30, 35 mile an hour winds with 20-degree temperatures. And so that mixes that water pretty hard with the wave action. Like I said, I don't know. I mean, this one it didn't have the duration of the last one, and it wasn't quite as cold. I mean, the last one, I woke up to 13 degrees that morning.
Yeah.
This one at 20. Yeah. I mean, hard to say what it's going to be. I don't think we wiped the mangroves out this time like we did before. They'll be burned back. But, Dean saying that he was at 26 in town. That's what Seadrift and Port O'Connor were 26, 27. But out here away from the concrete, it was a little different story.
I was thinking about something that we've talked about a couple of times here. The barges, they're sure as heck not going to stop. And, the barges, some of those deeper cuts, I don't know if any of you guys have any thoughts on that. It probably wouldn't be as big of or would it, the barges? What are you seeing, Caleb?
you keep putting me in these positions.
That's why we're here.
I'll tell you the level of colds that we have at my house. It's going to be cold. It's pretty dang cold. And Steve's going to jump out of bed and take a dump on the floor. So I'm going to ask him to go outside cold. and that's where we were at.
You were on level Steve?
Dude, when it snowed, we opened the door and he just looked at us and humped up right there. Like we weren't even going to talk about it. He knew what the mission was going to be and he wasn't going to.
The hell I am. You get your ass out there.
He's close to the ground, man.
It probably would be good to stop the barge trap, but they're not going to. I know the people that turn them on and off personally. I mean, I've sat in the Simmons boat. I've been to his house, and it takes an act of Congress to shut them down. And he shut them down. Oh, I guess it was last year, the year before. We had a pretty cold one, not the 21, but he shut them down for one. But it takes a lot to get that to happen, and it's just not going to happen. So.
And the other thing that I was thinking about, well, a couple of things, but Dean, we've had the good news for me, and I think Scott might have touched on this a second ago. We've had some cold fronts come through. So the water temperatures haven't gone from 68, 69, 70 to all of a sudden 44. You know, that big giant drop off. So those previous cold fronts probably helped us a little bit too.
Well, I was at 62, 63 degrees.
Pretty high.
And then at 47 today. So, I mean, it was pretty dramatic. And, 3 or 4 days will tell the actual truth about it. But even at the marina there where my boat is docked, I mean, it just didn't have that feel where, we'll get just millions of mullet that come pouring into those canals whenever it gets to the cold point where they are fleeing from the cold and seeking refuge. And then there'll be hundreds of cormorants that follow those mullet. And there just was none of that activity on this go round. So, but them speckled trout can be kind of fragile when it comes to the cold. You could beat a redfish with a baseball bat and throw it back in the water. They swim away. I mean, they're just, even during the big freeze of 21, whenever it was 21, right? When all the fish died. And I mean, we went out there amongst all of the floating speckled trout, and I had never felt so guilty in my life because I threw a line in the water and I caught a redfish, and I was like, I shouldn't have. I just felt horrible about I caught the last fish.
Still brought it in. You still caught it.
I apologized to it when I released it, but through all of that, all of those dead trout, never saw a dead redfish anywhere. So it's hard to gauge it by the redfish activity.
Well, I mean, go ahead, Scott.
During the worst freeze of my time in '83, we had redfish that actually we were catching afterwards that had scars on their backs where their backs apparently been out of the water during it, and they survived and they were feeding again. Redfish are tough. We lost a lot of redfish during that freeze. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it hit them hard, but there were a lot of them that lived through it, a lot more than the trout.
Yeah, let's hope this one isn't that bad. Again, when we got them killed bad, the water was warmer, it was deeper. They were, East Matagorda got whacked bad because they were as far away from the cut as they could possibly be. They weren't even really that close to like the deeper 5-6 feet of water that's in the middle of the bay.
Yeah.
It got cold Friday afternoon, and today's Tuesday, and it's warming back up quickly. So, like Dean said, this one doesn't have that gloom and doom feel to it.
Well, before we wrap this discussion up and move on to some other things that we want to cover today, you've seen the forecast, I'm sure, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, looking again like not necessarily as bad. And by the way, spoiler alert: we're probably not going to have a "What Would Scott Do?" Caleb and Dean today because it's probably going to be much the same as last week. But well, the highs are a little better, Scott. The highs are a little better now that I'm looking at it again. But it is going to be pretty cold again. And just any after effect with those temperatures dropping, especially at night.
Yeah, I mean, we're good. I think we're good. We got sunshine. We got warmer temperatures Like I said, it's rebounding pretty good. I just checked again. It's 54.5 at Port O'Connor Little Jetties. So that helps. You know, it probably won't go as cold as it did this time.
Yeah.
I say that because I was kind of with you on that last one, saying, I think they're making too much out of this. I don't think it's going to get that cold.
Mm-hmm.
I was wrong. It got colder than what they even predicted.
Yeah.
So, hopefully this one, they're showing me to be like 27, 28 this weekend. Hopefully that holds and we don't have as much wind with this one and it doesn't last for 2 or 3 days. I mean, it was pretty bitter around here.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing all that in this next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the really bad one, it got the high was like 25 over a course of 6 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
that was
6
different.
days, you're in the mid 20s to the mid teens. I think we're okay.
Okay,
Good.
And just to confirm, I am looking at the forecast for Aransas Pass. I've been wrong.
We always
Just
have to
so you know. Just so you know.
Before we start this, the forecast very interesting. The low temperature for us Saturday morning, 38 degrees. Low temperature Friday morning, 45 degrees. Low Sunday, 45 degrees. So I don't got no 20s in my forecast.
We got 20s up here. I looked.
Yeah, and Galveston area has some as well.
I mean, look, it was cold here, and below 40 is below my threshold for comfort.
So you ain't going anyway.
we were stuck in this house. But for whatever reason, I'm glad we dodging a bit of the bullet in the neighborhood here.
You didn't happen to drive by my place and see any ice on the pipes or pipes bursted?
No, I went over there and turned the water off and drained the pipes.
Look
and,
at you.
See,
he's
inside,
noble.
Turned the heaters on.
He's noble, is what he is.
Hey, that could have been my good deed story.
That could have been it.
Maybe I'll get an award next year.
Well, you're going to be 7th. You definitely finish ahead of Caleb. We still need a top 5 on the Captain Scott Null Award, which, by the way, I guess I should explain that for any new listeners. Every year in September, usually we have the Feeding Frenzy, which benefits a couple of great organizations, Heroes on the Water and Texas Boys Outdoors, and we raise a lot of money, auction a boat. I think we're going to be doing that again. And last year we started the Captain Scott Null Award because of all the great things he did. 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks? You were over helping the folks over on the Kamal. Yeah. So that's going to bear his name, and we're taking nominations pretty much all year round.
I'll go ahead and nominate myself. If y'all think Dean says some crazy crap on social media, you should hear the stuff I talk him out of. There's an award in there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, again, maybe that little voice inside your own head, but I probably shouldn't do that. You should get the award.
I think Dean should buy you a taco. That's about what that's worth.
Yeah. So keep that in mind when you see some. Like, we've already had some people talking about who's the young woman, and I apologize for forgetting her name, Scott, that we've had on that does all the work with the tarpon and the snook, and somebody nominated her, so she's on the list. But
last name's Tiller. I've gone blank on her first name.
Yeah, Alice. Anyway, then we'll get that. All right, so I kind of don't know where to go here next, because I think this is going to be a funnier one, and then we'll get back to the lure shy topic, as in fish being shy of lures, because Mark Nichols talked about that. But I want to start right here, because the risky side of booking a guide sight unseen. And, obviously you don't have to worry about that with our guys. We're all friends here. You guys probably feel like you know them if you don't know them already. But some of the things that folks can do to make sure they're getting quality people, quality guides from the guide's perspective. Because who was the guy in Florida, the greatest fisherman ever, that threatened to kill a guy?
Brock, was his name Brock? It had to be Brock.
Yeah, I think it was Brock. Between him and then this dude, which I think it was actually late last week when this story came to pass. So there's a fishing guide in Florida. Go figure, another Florida guide that was like massive amounts. He was selling cocaine out of his guide boat and it was undercover officers got him. But like that's probably a guy that you don't want. He was packing heat. He had extra. He said he had more cocaine that he could get if you read the story. He could get at any point. So you have the greatest guide ever. You have guys selling cocaine out of his boat and like big amounts of cocaine. So it did get me thinking. First of all, your thoughts on our guy with the powder problem. Hopefully you're not listening to this podcast from the side of the road because you have trailer problems. It happens to the best of us. It happens to all of us. Master Hitch. Scott Pinkley and the guys over at Master Hitch, they've been in business for more than 30 years, and they are behind you all the way. See what I did there? We're talking about everything you can possibly imagine. Towing equipment, fifth wheels, goosenecks, towing accessories, cargo carries, bike racks, wiring and electrical, and of course, boat trailers, trailer parts, 713-974-4440, 713-974-4440 or masterhitch.com.
Markov got his number. he takes a trip to Universal and then runs a little fishing charter while he's there.
Like, you know what? I think I might go fishing on this trip.
I read that, and I was
right
impressed. I was going to send everybody like, look at this guy. He's the first fishing guide ever to make money. So I'm talking about.
And the reason he got caught because he wasn't a good drug dealer. I don't think that he was. He supposedly he found it floating.
Mhm.
He just got dropped in his lap, you know,
Yeah.
and so he just wasn't good at selling.
Well, first of all, you don't really believe that, do you? You don't really-
In South Florida?
Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Well,
But then he was selling kilos. The decision to sell.
That's how you find it in South Florida.
No, I know,
Yeah,
but
he
I'm saying
knows.
the decision to
Look,
say, "Hey, I think I'm gonna start
look.
selling this."
they were conveniently packaged in kilos.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You know,
don't look
Why
at gift horse in the mouth, John.
I can just see him on his boat. All right, work it. No, a little more to your left. Hey, you want some yayo? I mean, just like
And I was thinking, actually, when I heard that story, I was thinking, man, you know, this dude may have just been a normal dude and he found this. And then he went a little crazy thinking, oh my God, I hit the lottery.
Mhm.
I'm fixing to make some money. And then it all went wrong when he sold it to the undercover cop.
They could make a movie out of that with Mark Wahlberg, the character he played in the fishing movie, the Clooney, like the kind of dipshit but knows nothing about a boat.
Mhm.
Like, hey guys, look what we. Yeah, I could see a story coming out of this. Hey,
Well,
I can see it though. Pick it up and like, man, you know what? Make somebody some deals. We'll make some money here today.
yeah, but then you get caught. Let's hear from the
Hopefully, I don't have to
former.
get an offshore undercover cop on your boat that fast. I'm with Dean. The guy just sucks at selling it.
We haven't heard from the former, HPD officer here. Thoughts, Scott?
I had a buddy that grew up down in South Florida, I knew for years, and he said when they were growing up as young kids, they'd hear that was during the Miami Vice days and all that, and the big speed boats were going along there being chased, and they'd always dump all their dope out as they were being chased.
Mm-hmm.
And he said they'd listen to scanners, and when they'd hear the scanners go off about a boat being chased down, they'd all go sit and patrol the beaches.
Wait for the coke to wash up.
And they'd go out and look for it. And he said, yeah. I said, you ever find it? He goes, well, yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Maybe. Nick says, work your top water to gold dust woman instead of Marietta Little Lamb.
I mean,
They'd be the worst quirky fisherman ever. Slow it down. Slow down.
You're really working it fast. Really.
I've never seen anybody make a plastic work like a topwater. This is incredible.
Oh Lord.
That's a risky retirement proposition right there.
Well, it was his. It was definitely his.
Did not work out.
But there is, again, you know how my mind works. There is a topic here. You know, we always talk about, booking your captains. We want you guys to be booked, but, some people just pick up the phone and say, I'm going to, wherever. Dean, sometimes you get a lot of questions, and I know you like a lot of questions, but also like just for our listeners, what should you know? I mean, other than, hey, do you sell Coke? Something like that.
I'm out.
I'm out.
Man, whenever people, in all the years in the business, I've heard every bad guide story there is along the way. People want to tell you that. They're bad experiences, especially when they have a good one. You know, they're like, whoa, this is so much different than the last guide I went out with. But when people call me and they really do ask a lot of questions where they're just grilling me on, you know, how long are we going to be out? What are we fishing for? What are we fishing with? All those questions, you can usually tell they had a bad trip somewhere. And it goes back to being a good client. Request what you want to do. I mean, don't be shy about telling people what you expect, what you want. And if they don't answer the questions right, there's a whole lot of choices to go down the list.
That's where I was, Caleb. I mean, like you don't, just because you picked up, you don't have to go to the first, store you see.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty easy to figure out if you're going to have a day you like or not. When you book the guys that got Groupons, it's probably 50-50, but if you're picking the guys that are your typical 650 to 850, there's a heck of a lot of us that do all sorts of different things. If you want to come wade and grind out big trout with me and Matagorda, might be disappointed, but I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you right now, call Pat Gardner or something. My body can't do it. I don't do it. But yeah, like Dean said, ask questions. Don't ask too many. That gets tedious.
For your own sake.
But another thing that is deceiving. So a lot of people are on their social media where they're advertising their guide business, and they're going to have all of these sponsored by Lure Company, sponsored by this, sponsored by that. And I have heard this so many times where people booked a guide where they wanted to go lure fishing. They talked about it, and the dude showed up with a bucket of bait and told them that this is the only thing they're biting on today. And that is a load of garbage. Yeah. I mean, that is what they do every day. And that's how they trick people into believing it. And when they show up, they do what they're going to do, not what you want to do. That's a bad guide.
And Scott, the one thing that I know I wanted to get to you on is it's easy to call yourself a guide. Hell, I could call myself a guide. That doesn't make you a guide. I mean, you gotta know, who you're dealing with. This whole open boat stuff is always a red flag. The fact that they, let's say a trip goes for $750 or whatever, and they're offering $450. I mean, what are some other things that our listeners should know?
I went through a long period there where I went out with a good many really crappy guides. Because my father-in-law, he would he liked to fish a lot, and he liked to fish different places. And no matter if I knew the area really well or not, he wanted to get a guide. And we were coming to Port O'Connor once when he rented a house here, and he decided that he would get a guide. Well, the problem with Chuck was he wasn't real good about pre-planning his guide trips. And he would pull up and go into the bait camp and pull a card off the wall, or just ask somebody there, because that was back in the days. There wasn't internet, and the cards were on the wall, or you asked somebody and you got referred. And he got us one here in Port O'Connor, and we left out of the fishing center, and we went through the little cut there in front of the fishing center, and we hung a right, and we went down the shoreline, maybe 300 or 400 yards, and we parked.
Oh boy.
And we threw cut mullet up onto the bank, and that's what we did all damn day.
And that had to be driving you nuts.
His boat was smoking. I mean, it was the boat was nasty. Camille was with us. It was bad. It was really, really bad. The guy was not a friendly guy at all. He went there and parked. I didn't know if the boat was going to make it any further, so I was kind of glad we stopped there. And yeah, and Camille's chiming in. We were sitting on coolers in the boat. Dude, that was
where was the video of all this, Scott?
Yeah, it was not good.
Mullet sitting on an old Coleman.
Yeah, that was not my plan. But I did go out with him, multiple times like that, where he would just grab whatever guide was available. Well, when you get the last minute guide and he's available, there's usually a reason why he's available and he's not booked up in advance. That's one of the big red flags for me.
Hey, I got days available this week. Take it easy.
Be quiet.
Hey, we all do. We all have days available. But this was like middle of summer, busy time. Everybody's booked up.
But
You're
the
taking chances there.
there's a lot of misconceptions out there in the guiding world. It just
That's one of the main things, though. Is
two of
just,
them right below me.
like Dave was talking about, you got to ask your questions. I got, like Dean, I got grilled hard by these two brothers. They were coming out of Washington, and they wanted to go sight fishing for redfish. Damn it! And I'm like, okay, that's what I do. Well, that's what we heard, but we want to make sure. And I mean, they grilled me hard. And both of them on the phone at the same time, asking questions. And when they got here, I got talking to them. The family had some condo, timeshare deal in Galveston, or mom or somebody, and they'd come down before and wanted to go sight fishing for reds because they'd seen it on TV and they wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And they got this guy. Yeah. He took them to the jetties, and they soaked cut mullet for bull reds at the end of the jetties. So they did not want to do that again, but they came out with me for several years. Good dudes. They come down every year, but they sold the timeshare and they quit coming.
Yeah.
I depend on those guys to make me look good. I appreciate them.
Well, you know what? That's kind of where I was going with you, Caleb. Every single industry in the world, everybody listen to us, whether you're in, the oil and gas industry or finance or, broadcasting, in my case, every industry has some bad people in it, like just bad dudes, and so it's gonna happen. So you got to be careful.
It's like when you go to the bar and the 6 hangs out with a 3 to look like a 9. That's what we're doing here. It's simple.
I don't know. Hold on. A 6 hangs out with a 3 to look like a 9. Okay, I follow you. You. Yeah, that's like me with you 3 guys. So, all right.
How does that math work?
You add the 6 and the 3, it makes a 9.
If 3 hang out with a 6, it might make her a 4.5. But
it works the other way.
It's like Rodney Dangerfield said: if you want to look skinny, hang around with fat people. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. So I don't want to skip this. We'll get to this one since we're not doing any what would Scott do or Caleb or Dean, because, well, maybe I'll let you guys have an opportunity if you think there's anything out there for cold weather fishing. But so Mark Nichols joined us. It was last week, maybe before that, and he seemed absolutely convinced with some stories to back it up that certain lures just get too obvious for fish. And I went, yeah, I don't disagree. Maybe we've all had some experience with that. But I did want to ask you guys, do you think there are places or occasions where he called it lure shy, like they see the same thing, consistently. And I don't think, I've said this before, fish maybe have a lot of instincts, but they don't have a lot of cognitive skills, sort of reasoning and all that. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but maybe it's just habitual. What do you guys think about a fish becoming lure shy? Let's talk about taking your game to another level. Let's talk about Sawgrass Rods. If you haven't heard, they're taking over the inshore, offshore, and fly rod game. Sawgrass Rods, Colin Zillich, the whole gang over there are going to make sure that you've got the right rod. We throw Sawgrass rods, and Sawgrass is the next level of rod. I'm telling you, when you order a Sawgrass rod, if you don't like what you ordered, return it. They'll pay for the shipping. That's the way it is, and that's the way you can trust Sawgrass Rods. Sawgrassrods.com. Is that your answer? Is that your?
I think there's days, because I've seen it happen. I think there's days where they'll eat a Gatorade wrapper on a weedless hook, and I think there's days you got to have something that's going to look real right. But first off, none of us are capable of accessing the depth of thinking of Mark Nichols. It's just not going to happen.
This is true.
Nor can we argue with any of his stuff, because we ain't gonna get to that level. But one thing I've mentioned on and off over the years, in that it sure seems like particular twitch baits, whether it's a Double D, Little John, not Little John, Double D, mirrored, Soft Nine, Fat Boy, whatever. There seems to be years where certain colors just can't be beat, and then that kind of fades away. And I keep throwing them. But some other color, it just turns on, and that's the one to have for a year or two. So there could be something to be said for that. And then something that Chad Pedrick and I were talking about on Angler U last week was that the guys that are really getting into all the old mirror lures again, the little hard baits and the broken backs and all that, they're doing pretty good on them. And those are just lures they haven't seen very much over the past, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. So there could be something to it. I'm not arguing.
You know why they haven't seen them?
Because go ahead.
Nobody's been throwing them.
Right.
And so when it comes to the I've had this conversation on the boat too about, why do I catch so many fish on a K-Wig, ball tail, shad, Mansfield margarita? Well, it's because things tied on there 99.9% of the time. And it's hard to say.
You also can't get to Dean's level of thinking either.
Yeah.
And the thing about fish, and I mean, I don't remember where. So a fish does not have a brain, like John said, no cognitive skills. It is strictly an instinctual animal. It doesn't have. It's not supposed to have a memory. They don't remember what happened yesterday. Supposedly, they can't remember what happened a minute ago. And I don't know who the scientist was that established that, but
We're gonna go with Bill Harvey.
Yeah, probably.
they
Did they take the little test that you fill in with the bubbles, or was it written?
I don't know. They're trying to fill out the.
and then so when it comes to, I mean, that I don't want to disagree with Mark. He's making that, based on his experience. I'm not saying he's right or wrong or otherwise, but I just don't see where changing a lure from over time.
Yeah, he was talking like
to
make complete profile.
That they haven't seen something in 3 years, and so now it's different to them, and then they decide to eat it. But the places Mark fishes over there in some heavily populated waters, where I mean, there's people throwing at those docks and those shorelines. They're parading through there. It is just, I mean, they're busier than over here on our part of the Texas coast, which is quite congested. But most of these guys over here are throwing a dead shrimp on a hook. So
only on their guided trips.
Yeah, only on the guided trips.
So, and Dean, I'm not doing this to argue with you.
You will.
I'm going to argue with you, but I'm not doing it to argue with you. If a fish doesn't have any kind of logic or any kind of memory or any of that, how is it possible to even pressure one? How do redfish get sensitive to trolling motors and pressure and all that if they're just booping about their day and they don't remember anything that happened yesterday?
Well, they don't remember that a troll motor scared them yesterday because a troll motor scares them every day.
But fish that don't ever
That's a good
trolling motors aren't trolling motors.
It is the vibration in the water.
Yeah.
But still, it's a repetitive thing that gets them that way. The fish that I used to be able to go.
So are you telling me that they weren't scared of it the first time they heard it?
They aren't bad about it until they start getting pressured, right? That's what I'm saying. So without any recognition of pattern or anything or memory, how would they become boat shy? I mean, I watched schools do it here, and I was fishing a school last summer, and they were phenomenal. And my buddies had been winning money on them in tournaments, and they'd been pounding on them all summer. And I called up homie and I said, "Hey, I can't help but notice that these fish are experts at staying exactly one cast away from the boat. Doesn't matter how you approach them, they're always moving away from you. But those same fish, when we leave them alone for a month, you can pull right up in the middle of them."
Well, Scott, I've been looking at your face as I'm listening, and that's a lot to absorb over the last 6 or 8 minutes that Scott and Dean, that Caleb and Dean have been talking. So I want you to sort of everything that we just heard from the Mark Nichols question to cognitive reliance to trolling motors. Hit me with your best shot.
So let's break this down. What does Mark Nichols do for a living?
He fishes and builds lures, makes
He
lures.
sells lures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get that out of the way. No, I mean, Mark sees a lot of fish. I mean, he's got them in his backyard. I believe it does happen on lakes that are highly pressured. Lake Fork is notorious for it. I mean, they'll have a hot lure there, and then you start throwing it, and you can see the fish, and they're just flat ignoring it. I don't know what the little fish is thinking because we can't talk to them. But apparently somebody can test them. I mean, I didn't know they had number 2 pistols. But,
Inside the lines, fish.
Right. If swimming around with a little blue book, it's an
I
essay.
wonder if fish can talk to each other.
It's much like an Aggie graduate exam. Like nobody's real sure that it happened.
but I mean, like Dean was saying, I hear it all the time. The only, you got to throw such a color. Why? Well, it's all I've been throwing lately. I ain't smoking them. Well, what else did you try? Nothing. Well, okay, you were catching fish, but how do you know that that's the only thing they're eating?
Yeah,
because that's what you're throwing.
And we've asked that question.
All of it.
Is it the fish or is it the lure that is making the difference?
Yeah. I mean, there's no telling. I mean, I think it's the person that's throwing the lure. I mean, if you keep throwing, I mean, there was a period there where Lily was the only thing you could throw. Oh, they ain't eating anything else. Well, what else do you try? Nothing. I tried Lily. So damn, Lily's going to work.
And I'm with Scott 100% on that. Technique-oriented bite. And I'm sure everybody has been with us where you're standing in a line with 2 or 3 or 4 other people, and one person is consistently getting hit where they're shaking it just a little bit different, or they can be very technique oriented to get them to bite, and others aren't getting tuned into that and they're not getting bit.
Y'all sound like a bunch of emo kids, your cup of coffee, because like forget the conformist man. Like dang well that every one of us have been in a situation where you had to throw a particular color to make it happen. We've been there. I spent 5 days where if you weren't throwing a purple, and I don't even like Cocoa minnows, if you weren't throwing a purple or chartreuse shells Cocoa minnow, you weren't getting bit. And there was like 6 of us lined up fishing, and anybody that fishes with me will tell you right now, I'm not throwing a damn Cocoa minnow. I'm throwing a quirky. That's what I'm gonna do. After about an hour, they wore me out, and I put a Cocoa minnow on, and we started catching fish. It's not often, but it's happened.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what they're eating. If there's an overabundance of one kind of bait in the water, then you have to match that. You got to get close to it. Whatever the reasoning is on that. Great one was a guy, Terry Neal, down in Port Mansfield, and we went out with him. It was later on in my career with my father-in-law. I got to choose the guides, and I was head, and I chose Terry Neal. And we went out with him, and the bull reds were up on the flats September, right before they head offshore. You get all these oversized fish. It was the weirdest thing I'd ever run into. We had to throw a 1/4 ounce silver spoon. That was it. 1/4 ounce silver spoon. If you threw a 1/2 ounce silver spoon, they wouldn't eat it. You threw a 1/4 ounce gold spoon, they would not eat it. And I'm talking about huge schools. It had to be that particular size, and it had to be silver. It was the damnedest thing I've ever seen. We caught tons of them. I mean, yeah, Camille's on the back. 53 bull reds in one day. Throwing that silver spoon, and we ran out of silver spoons, so we were trying it with other stuff, and nothing would work. I had to drive into Raymondville and go buy out the Walmart in Raymondville of 1/4 ounce silver spoons for the next few days because we're going to be there for a few days. But so I mean, it can happen. There's no doubt it can happen. But but I think day in, day out, we've all been there. We've all looked. We've all been catching fish like crazy, and all of a sudden they shut off.
Yeah.
So on the day that you're saying that they're not eating that, that particular lure, hell, they might not eat any lure.
Yeah. Caleb is caressing a crankbait that is about 4 feet long, 3 feet long.
This is my MirrOlure 36D. You got to have one.
You got to have one.
It's custom.
It is. Okay. So before we wrap up, my thing is just change the profile. It speaks to what Scott was saying about it might just be as simple as that's the bait profile that fits it. It's not necessarily what they remember, what they don't remember. It's that profile fits, that profile fits what's in there. And it could be that Coco has a very distinct profile. It could be absolutely that. Could be a shrimp. Could
Scott
be
was
any of
probably right. There's a bunch of little bitty short baby mullets that back then Matagorda had some grass and it was probably loaded in there. So
Mhm.
you needed that particular lure. That's all I'm saying.
So you guys got anything? If you have anything on the weekend, I know some of our listeners are going to go out there. If you have anything that would be a recommendation, what would you do other than maybe some honeydews or something like that? I don't want to dig in deep and all the details of where I would go and what the fish are doing and all that because it's going to be cold. It's going to be a little windy. I saw 20, 25, I think Saturday.
35.
35.
Yeah, 27 gusting to 35 Saturday morning.
Any thoughts around the horn here?
If you're a
Tomorrow
big-
and Thursday is going to be badass.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, they didn't eat too good. Now they're going to be eating too good. If you're a big trout guy, at lunch until dark, they'll probably be climbing up on the flats trying to warm up. If you just want to go catch fish, deep water, 1/4 ounce jig head, piece of plastic. You want to be super cool? JH has told me they'd do something nice for me if I sold 5 boats at the fishing show. And so
Oh,
I'm going
wow.
to be there for 5. I need to sell 1 boat a day. 1 boat a day.
You can do that.
Come by. I'll make you a deal.
Yeah.
I don't think I get the
Well,
price on it. I'll try.
Make sure you get the go ahead, okay, from the JH guys. $5,000, it's yours.
Look, John, I signed it.
5,000, yours.
What do they do at the car dealership? Write on this piece of paper what you want your payment to be.
That's right. Yeah, the Carvana or whatever it is. Yeah. Well, good. That's a good. And Dean and Scott, you have anything for where you are? I know it's going to have to be protected.
Man, it's just so windy. Yeah, you're gonna have to get protected if you're gonna go Saturday morning. Good luck. Sunday's looking a little better. It's still north, and I'm showing 39, 38 that morning, blowing the temperature wise, and then blowing 20 and 20 and up. So I don't know. Maybe save that hall pass for a better weekend. You know,
Yeah.
get the things done that need to get done, and then that way you're free if it clears up. Or if you could get away during the week. The week
Mhm.
does look good. Wednesday, Thursday looks really good. Friday, that's when the front hits. Friday morning.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like Dean. I do think the fishing's gonna be really good next couple of days, but you're dealing with really low tides, so a lot of the stuff that you're used to is not probably what you want to be, and the stuff that particularly like down by him or even up here, the stuff that you drift that's like usually 3 foot of water that's the shallow stuff that you're hoping for that trout to slide up on.
Mhm.
They probably didn't eat too good during the front, and there's another one coming in. They'll probably eat pretty good, but there's this wonderful thing called March coming.
Yeah.
And I definitely save your credits for March if you're the kind of guy that lives on credits.
Mhm.
The ones that have the joint Facebook account with the
Oh God!
I'm talking
Don't
to
get
that
me
guy.
started on that.
Hold your
Don't get me
credits for March.
well, I mean, I'm gonna be out there tomorrow and the next day, even if I'm by myself. Today, that was crazy. Today was the first day I have been on my boat solo as long as I can remember. It's kind of weird. I'm looking over there for somebody to talk to. Nobody there. And then, of course, taking a picture of your fish by yourself is also
I've done that a few times. Yeah.
is very difficult. But if you do go in the next couple of days, you're going to be doing what we have not been talking about for the past 3 months, which it's going to be wintertime, slow moving fish, subsurface lures. There's not going to be any top water action on the sand beds and the grass holes and those things that we've been doing. I mean, they're going to be moving slow. They're going to be on the edges of those flats. They're going to be really close to deep water, and they're probably going to be in the deep water close to the flats more than up on those grass beds. You might get a glimpse of one here and there on the grass. And the way the sun's shining today, it's going to warm up, that shallow water pretty good. But they're not there feeding because there's not going to be any bait fish on those shallows. They're just in there to warm up a little bit.
That's what
All
I was
right.
going to get to.
Go
is
ahead.
if you are going to go out there and prowl around. If you see some bait up on the shallows, now's the time to pay close attention to even one flipping little mullet.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're in that period now. Whereas over the last few weeks, hell, right before this front, I was out there super low tide, but there was a lot of fish up on the flats, and there was a lot of bait fish up there.
Yeah.
It didn't really matter. You could see a bunch of bait and go over to it. It might have fish, it might not. But
Yeah.
once it gets cold like this, you see just a handful of bait. It's worth a stop and look.
Yeah, that's what you call a tease. You and Dean. That was going to be one of my topics for next time. So wintertime, slow moving fish, all that stuff. You guys, fantastic, fun show as always. Lots of laughs and fun. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Don't forget to Bite Me Facebook group page. Don't forget to book my guys right here. And you guys have a great week. Have a great rest of the week. Have a great weekend. Catch them up. We'll talk to you next time.
Man, I might start bringing some cut mullet, and I may not particularly tell them we're starting the day, but there's days that those guys are kind of genius.